It's not that he says anything untrue, but I mean, like, there's half of the grid you could say that about. There's half of the grid that you could say gets beaten by his teammate basically every year. Look at Sergio Perez, for fuck's sake. I know it was the Canadian Grand Prix. I know Jacques Villeneuve was a world champion, and I know that he's from Canada. These are all things that I know. I've been around the traps. I know these things. But Jacques Villeneuve has been one of those, you could almost say that he's a troll. You could basically say that he's a troll, not physically, although, I mean, he's getting there. In his comments, he's a controversy magnet, and he seeks the limelight, and he's asked questions, and he gives pointed opinions, spares nobody's feelings, gives zero fucks. And really, I think, he's been doing it for so long now that there's no attempt to smooth off, roll off his controversial takes. So you'd have to assume at this point, after about 20 years of trying to do this, that he's doing it on purpose. So let's cut to Jacques Villeneuve on the grid in Canada being asked about Daniel Ricciardo. So obviously the situation, well, you've probably seen these clips, but I just want to play them just to live within them and have some thoughts about them. But you probably notice on the grid here, Rachel Brooks, I believe this is, Corinne Chandhok does a great job. And then over here, this is the man in question, Jacques Villeneuve, the man of the hour, the man everyone loves to hate. But I mean, it shouldn't be discounted that standing here is Danica Patrick, who I think Sky are really hoping that she'll sort of, be a bit of a face for women in motorsport and a voice for women in motorsport and an advocate for it. Although that said, she seems to be universally despised, especially by women. She's what in the racing circles we like to call a bit of a MAGA shithead. She's got some incredibly bad opinions about just people in life. So I mean, it's easy to not like her. I didn't have much of an opinion on her either way until I learned all of that stuff. But she's on the coverage and everybody hates it. And then Jacques Villeneuve, well, enough said. But we'll play through this and, I think this just does a great job of encapsulating within about 1 minute the best of the verbal sparring that happened between Jacques Villeneuve and Daniel Ricciardo.
Jack, anything to add on Daniel?
Why is he still in F1? Why?
Look at the nods. Why is he still in F1? Lots of nods. Shit. These people are all on Daniel Ricciardo's shit list now.
We're hearing the same thing now for the last 4 or 5 years. We have to make the car better for him, poor him. Sorry, it's been 5 years of that. No, you're in F1.
I mean, he's been in bad cars for a long time, so I don't understand this comment. We have to make the car better for him. I think what they mean is we have to change the car to suit his racing style. Spoiler alert, you sort of have to do that for every driver, pretty much.
Maybe you make that...
but the best drivers obviously can drive through problems better.
Effort for Lewis Hamilton, who's won multiple championships. You don't make that effort for a driver that can't cut it. If you can't cut it, go home. There's someone else to take your place. That's how it's always been in racing. It's the pinnacle of the sport. There's no reason to keep going and to keep finding excuses. And you all talk about that first season or first 2 seasons. He was beating a Vettel that was burnt out, that was trying to invent things with the car to go win and just making a mess of his weekends. And then he was beating for half a season Verstappen when Verstappen was 18 years old, just starting. And then that was it.
So, I mean, he brings up Daniel's history as if like he's only had 2 good years, which is like, okay, I mean, he's had good races and shown a lot of promise along the years, but he talks about, okay, so he beat Vettel in his first year. Vettel, who he says like he was burnt out or something. I mean, I don't know, man. One day I'll dig into that whole year because I think there's a bit of a fishy smell about that year, to be honest, but he says he beat Vettel 1 year, sure, but then he also beat Verstappen for half of the year, which is completely valid, out-qualified him and out-raced him, while he was still finding his feet in a new team. And then since then, Verstappen got the best of him, and then since then, everyone's beaten Daniel as teammates. Like, look, it's not that he says anything untrue, but I mean, like, there's half of the grid you could say that about. There's half of the grid that you could say gets beaten by his teammate basically every year. Look at Sergio Perez, for fuck's sake.
Stopped beating anyone after that.
I mean, that's quite a harsh look at his.
Yeah, good on Rachel Brooks for having a go at saying, yeah, that's harsh. Like, as if no one understood. Now we're making it very clear that that's very harsh. Corinne doesn't know where to look.
Career. From your point of view, then, do you think he's been overrated the whole time? He's been.
I think it's his image has kept it in F1 more than.
Yeah, this comment here. I mean, Daniel admitted this himself when he returned to the Red Bull family, saying, "Yeah, I'm mostly here so that I can be a marketing draw." That was when he didn't even have a drive. I mean, I think it's valid to say that Red Bull, were butthurt that Ricciardo left, and then when he was sniffing around, like maybe I can come back, they were like a bit of an opportunity to maybe take the high road and say, well, maybe you shouldn't ever have left Buster Brown.
His actual results.
I know.
So we cut to the reaction here. So here's Daniel beaming. This is after qualifying, obviously. He qualified in P5, 2/10 off pole position. And if you haven't seen the comparison, it's incredibly tight. And obviously, Russell and Verstappen set the exact same time for pole in qualifying. Russell set it first, so he gets the actual position. But then the top 4 and 5 were very close. Like sometimes you see on the grids where they like, here's based on the times, here's how far away, here's the gap between the drivers physically, and it's like nothing for the top 5. But obviously, yeah. Well, let's just enjoy this.
You've had your critics this weekend. Is that a way to answer them?
You've
had your critics this weekend. Is that a good way to answer?
Is that Rachel asking the question? She's like really, she's stirring it on. Like she's definitely like setting him up here.
To them?
I've just been told. I don't listen or read, but yeah, there's definitely some people out there who, whatever. I won't give him the time of day, but top 5. I've been quick all weekend. We're less than 2/10 from pole, so.
They've muted the audio everywhere that I've found this, but he leans into the microphone and says, "They can eat shit." Wow, Jacques and Mr. Villeneuve, they can both do that. And then he smiles and walks off like, great mic drop over it. He also gave a quote to somebody. It might have been print media, but it was like, I've heard my critics. They, maybe I don't really listen to them. I don't give them the time of day. Maybe they've been playing too much ice hockey and had a few bangs to the head or something.
We all wondered what you thought.